What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Heaven 17, and we're going to listen to the first of a few bonus tracks in the folder for their 1984 album How Men Are. And as far as I can tell, we're going to listen to the only one that is a track independent of the actual album. So I don't know if this is a B-side, maybe a non-album single, but the other three bonus tunes in this folder are different versions of tracks on the actual album. And just to clarify, we have a Cinemix, which I like that, of This Is Mine, then a remix of And That's No Lie, and then an extended version of Sunset Now. But yes, the only one that doesn't seem to be related to a track on the album is Counterforce 2. So yeah, I'm intrigued, and in fact, in the moment, I'm not remembering. I didn't react to a Counterforce 1, did I? Let me just make sure of that, because if I did, I'm not recalling it. Nope, I have never reacted to any tune named Counterforce. So I do wonder, is this just the name and there is no Counterforce 1, or is this actually a follow-up to some earlier track they did? Either way, Counterforce, something which pushes back against an initial force, so I do wonder whether this is conceptual, meaning it's in the realm of human emotions and interactions, and not like a physical force per se. Of course, it might not be a force in terms of kinetic force, but again, it could be like psychological force, emotional force, so I do wonder what is happening here and why it is number 2. Let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Heaven 17. It's a non-album track, and let me just check the metadata to see if there's any hints about this. Nope, it doesn't seem to give any indication where this may come from. So let's just give it a listen. This is Heaven 17. The track is Counterforce 2, and it's a bonus track included in an expanded folder for their 1984 album How Men Are. Wow, it definitely sounds like a more experimental track. Obviously, it's an instrumental, so we get no verbal or lyrical explanation as to the title. My best guess is that there are different layers that seem to, one layer comes in and then it's countered by another layer, and there's this, multi-section feel to it. Like, once it started, my first thought is it feels very funky and mechanical. Like, mechanical in that it's, sort of like meticulous, and it has a like heavy metallic type of feel, and yet it was funky at the same time, especially like at the lower end. There was a real funky bass feeling to it. But then in comes this like synth line which feels like classic like 50s sci-fi movie Alien, like there was a flying saucer in the sky. And there were a couple other layers, including that sort of like organ keyboard chord like pad that was in some of the sections, that did again feel very cosmic, but like in a 50s, the aliens are out there kind of sense, even as the rest of it had again a very percussive, cycling, mechanical feel. So yeah, again, it feels like it's an experimental B-side type of track, not in a bad way, though it definitely had a bit of a like dissonance to it, like an uncomfortability almost. It felt like it was like a bit of a challenge, but ultimately one that I found compelling and I was sort of locked into. So yeah, not a track that I would expect to be burning up radio charts, but one that's very interesting in the larger context of this album and their body of work. I don't remember in this moment if there's any other instrumental track I've heard by them. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, as I sit here now, I can't think of another one. So at the very least, it's intriguing in that respect, that it's just, a synth funk track on its own without any narrative, any scene painting. So yeah, maybe just a tune, they worked on, but that didn't progress beyond the stage of, a set of sounds, a sort of sonic foundation. So either way, I do wonder about the history or provenance of this tune. As I said, there are three additional versions of tracks originally from the album, and I want to go through, what is it called again? The Cinemix? Let me make sure I have that right. Yes, the Cinemix of This Is Mine. So yeah, I enjoyed the album track, and I'm curious to hear what the Cinemix will be, so we'll listen to that one next time, as well as the other two after that. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.